Hello and welcome to the Should You Buy for the Marauder II. This is the new 100-ton battle mech for the Inner Sphere side. Now, you were able to get this earlier as it was part of the MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries pre-order. You would get a Marauder 2 pack for the different levels that you got, but if you're not interested in Mech 5 and you just want to get it for Mech Online, then we have it here as its standalone version. So let's go take a look at the mech, its stats, and whether or not you should buy it. First off, we got the standard pricing for the different levels of packages. We've got the Ultimate Pack, which is everything, all of the variants, the special variant, the hero, and the reinforcements for $70. This is the same price as buying things piecemeal, but again, like I'll always say here, it would be really nice if this was $60 or $65 instead of $70 as sort of a thank you so much for purchasing what is enough money to buy a brand new AAA game on in-game content for MechWarrior Online. Here's a little bit off the top because thank you, sort of thing. Now, that's what I'd like to see here. But standard pack, $28 for the 3 standard variants with 30 days of premium time and some cockpit items. The collector's pack, which has an additional copy of the MAD 4A with special paint job and 30% C-build boost, a little bit more cockpit items, some additional premium time, and the hero for $15, and the reinforcements, the 4L and the 6S for another $15. We're going to take a look at the hero reinforcements, see if there's anything that they have that's different from the standard pack, to see whether or not you need to purchase them to be meta relevant. But let us go down to the mech specs here. These are Inner Sphere battle mechs. They are 100 tons, so same weight as your Annihilators and your Atlases and such. We've got a standard engine, 300 is across the board here, all 300 rating, which gives them a stock speed of 48.6, but that engine does go up to a 360, so it is basically the equivalent of Atlas top speed. So whatever you can do on the Atlas, you can do on this, minus the boar's head and such, that is able to take a little bit larger an engine. We've got, let's see here, 3 jump jets on every single one, so every single one can fly. ECM on the 4L, so that's one of the reinforcement ones, so you can get ECM on it, and then no mask on any of them. All right, so with that, let's pop over to the spreadsheet warrior, and we'll take a look at what we can expect for our pod space and available slottage. So we have the MAD 2 here, it's 100 tons, we have the different engine types, and that should be a 360. These are the different engines which I think will be popular on it. We have sort of the smallest rating that I would expect you to put on a 100-tonner, and I know somebody will do a smaller engine just for the memes, but a 300 standard or 300 rated engine is only getting you that 48.6, which is quite slow and really hard to maneuver when the game is so focused on the potato of trying to constantly flank your opponents. Having a really slow assault can be detrimental to that, unless it's something like the Annihilator, which has massive firepower and massive armor, and it can just be the anchor for their team that everyone can stay with. But we have the ability to take larger engines in this one. The 325 is the next one where we get a heatsink slot, same with the 350, and then the 360 is the max. Although I probably wouldn't expect people to take the 360 over the 350 because it is a fair amount of extra weight for just a couple kilometers of additional speed. So I don't expect the 350, but it would be possible. I don't expect the 360, but it would be possible if you wanted to. When it comes to the different engine types, you're not most likely going to take XL because it's a Marauder. Your sides are going to get taken off before your CT. Most likely, it's going to be lights, and on a few designs, standard for when you want bigger weapons inside torsos, such as heavy Gauss and such. So I would expect light 350, standard 350, and standard 325 as the main engines for this mech, and that is where I have done the majority of my designs with those engines into consideration. You're pretty much always going to take endo because it just saves so much weight. It saves you 5 tons on a 100-tonner mech. But armor is going to be interesting. It's either going to be standard or light ferro. I don't think you'll ever get full ferro on this thing because you will run out of available slots before you can really fill it up with your tonnage. Like, as your mech gets bigger, you get more tonnage, but your size stays the same compared to, say, a light mech. You still have the same amount of critical slots. So, you're going to need more of them, and you'll sacrifice a little bit of that extra weight in order to get some additional slots by taking standard armor. But overall, you're going to have a fair amount of a free pod space to work with. Something probably around 40 to 50 tons. If sort of the largest and heaviest engine that I could expect someone to take, which would be a standard 350, you're going to get 40 tons with a little bit of armor shaving. And then the smallest engine that I expect people to take would be like a light 325, and that gives you 50 tons. But let us go. I need to bring down my thing here. I've got a bunch of builds made up already in MechDB that we can take a look at. But we're going to start off with the MAD 4A. Now, this mech is got 3 energy in the left arm, 3 energy in the right torso, and 2 energy in the right arm. So a total of 8 energy hardpoints spread out across the mech. It is going to be your laser vom variant. If we take a look at the builds for it, we have just a standard ER laser vom with triple ER large pulse lasers in the right torso. Those should be, because if we look at the design for it, we can see how this gun is right on top. That's right torso, because that's where the right torso weapons are going to be mounted, is on top of the mech practically. So right torso for these lasers should be really high on the mech. So it should be that if you can see it with your cockpit, you'll be able to shoot it. We got some jump jets, a light 350 engine, targeting computer. I had a little bit of extra weight here. So we got AMS and AMS ammo to fill up for the space and the weight to get a whole bunch of ER large lasers and ER medium lasers to do a 52 damage alpha at a pretty good range. Now, this is a pretty light loadout for a 100-tonner. You can go a little bit heavier with your firepower, and you can do this variant here. This is essentially the same, except it's upgrading all of the pulse laser, all of the lasers to pulse lasers. We're still keeping the same engine. We dropped a jump jet, so we're a little less maneuverability, but really you only need a couple of them, and then you can start doing things like getting out of the canyon on Canyon Network, and that really improves your mobility when you're in a 100-tonner. But this adds to the firepower at 60, and also, very importantly, reduces the burn time, which makes it easier to land on light mechs and mediums and such, and also for larger mechs to land on a single component. A little bit less heat efficiency, but on this one we've taken endo steel in order to get some extra weight to upgrade the lasers. But we've lost out in the fact that we could have slotted 3 more heat sinks in this thing if we hadn't taken endo steel, but we would have run out of tonnage. So this one is less damage, but more heat efficient, constant firing thing. Well, this is a more damage, less heat efficient, sort of poke and move kind of design. Both will be working well. On to the next one, we've got the 4 HP. Now this one will be the memes. We've got a head missile, 4 left torso, 4 right torso missile, 2 energy in each arm. What? We've got 9 missile hard points and 4 energy. This will be fun. So if we take a look at some of the builds for that, you can just go full splat. The Marauder II. Get some standard engine 350 as putting the 4 SRM6s with Artemis simply does not fit in a side torso unless they use every single slot. But that was alright, you have enough tonnage, you can get what is this, 7 tons of ammo, an additional heatsink in one of the armor stripped arms, 8 CERM 6s with Artemis. You fire them left, right, a good old left hook, like left jab, right hook sort of feel as you go forward with this mech. You just pound people with it. So much firepower, 103.2. Like, what? Okay, that's a lot of missiles. But you can do some other stuff on this if you wish. You can do an MRM boat, very similar type thing. We've just swapped out the standard for a light fusion. We've gone a pair of 20s, a pair of 40s. That, while being the same amount of missiles as quad 30s, is actually less tonnage. So we're able to get on a little bit extra MRM ammo and an additional heatsink in the right arm. But if you want to, you can do mass LRMs, as you can do 6 LRM 15s with a light 325, over 2,000 rounds, although that may not be enough for the amount of LRM 15s that you have here, but you can do it for the memes. Because you can. But yeah. You could also do a more reasonable midline build. You could take this one, take out the 20s, armor up the arms, put like some sort of lasers on the arms, and just have MRMs and lasers. You could do all sorts of stuff for that, but these are the sort of 3 sort of meme builds that I have. Then we're on to the next one. Overall, that one's going to be fun. That one's going to be the silly ones that you're going to see, like people make videos of like, I one-shot somebody sort of thing. Also, yeah, you can put a whole bunch of rocket launchers on there and really one-shot someone. Next up is the MAD 5A, the last one in the standard pack. This one is most similar to the Marauder 3R of the 75-ton variant. We've got 3 energy in each arm and 2 ballistic in the right torso. So close to the Marauder 3R. Because that one's got, if I remember correctly, 2 energy in each arm and 3 ballistic in the right torso. From that one, this one here, what we've got is 6 medium pulse lasers, 2 LB10s, standard 325, plenty of LB10 ammo, no jump jets, as I was just running out of tonnage, considering I had to take a standard engine on this. But we're able to do 56 point damage in an alpha strike, and also very heat efficient. We can keep up with our allies as we're going 52.6. If we are proactive with the push, we should try to always be moving and always be considering our location. But 6 medium pulse is a really great way to rake out a light mech's legs and protect yourself that way. And then 2 LB10s, you got that constant mid-range firepower. I think it's a pretty nice design. Next up for the 5A is essentially the same, but we're trading it out for a heavy Gauss rifle instead of the 2 LB10s. Same arm armament with 6 medium pulse lasers. We've changed the engine to a standard, and we've actually been able to add a couple jump jets for additional mobility. So we're able to get around the battlefield a little bit better. Like I said before, just with a couple of them, you can start doing the little jumps, say, out of Kenya Network, and that is massive to help your mobility. But, you know, it's a heavy Gauss, and the heavy Gauss is going to be mounted, as we saw before, on top of the mech. So you'll be the ultimate peeker with that heavy Gauss. You'll just be able to go just barely break your cockpit over the ridgeline, and then you'll just be able to shoot people. That'd be quite nice. And then the next is, still this mech, Ultra design. It's just realistically using the same arms, as I think that 6 medium pulse is probably going to be best for this thing. You could also do 6 ER meds with something else, but I find that it just adds so much weight. Even if after I filled up the ballistics here, because it's only a side torso, a single side torso. If they had a ballistic on the other side, then you could do like dual 20s or something like that and use ER mediums. But because it's crit limited, you can only put it in one side torso. 6 medium pulse will work well. This one is an Ultra 10, Ultra 5, mixing the Ultras up just so you can have some nice constant DACA, 51 damage for your Alpha Strike. And the next one is onto the 4L, so let's head back and take a look at it. The MAD 4L is the only one that can take ECM, so it's the first of the reinforcement pack. And we've got 4 ballistic, 2 in each arm, 2 energy in the right torso, and an ECM in the left. So we'll take a look at it. Here we go. So the first design that I thought of was, it's a little slow, it's a light 300. This is kind of like the slowest design that I've done for this, but the Annihilator can work in the game now, and this is going to have ECM, so it's going to be a little bit more sneaky. We've got 4 AC5s and 2 PPCs. This is sort of that mid-range Alpha Strike, put down 40 damage at a good range, like, what is this? Optimal of these is 620, and for the PPCs, it's 540, so you can do that 40 damage out to 540 meters away. We've got the ECM to keep us safe, and also, because we're a 100-ton assault, we're going to be staying with our other assaults, and we'll keep them under our ECM bubble as well. It's an interesting build, maybe not the most exciting one that I have, but it'll work. You can also do stuff like dropping these 5s down to 2s and stuff like that, and then getting a little bit bigger energy weapons and going for more long-range DACA. Do I have another build for this? Yes, we also have the Gauss Peep Snipe. As this mech comes base with Gauss Peep. So, because of that, I'm predicting, if I'm correct, I am correct, right? Yeah, Gauss, Peep, Gauss. I predict that this is going to have maybe a heat scale limit +1 for the ERPPC, as, say, like the Night Star has, because this is the stock design. That would be a really cool thing to see for this mech. In which case, you can do dual Gauss Peep sniping at range with ECM cover. Plus, we are actually able to get the light 350 on here, which is giving us some decent mobility. And if you want to, you don't really need these heat sinks, and you could get a jump jet to swap it out so that you can have a little bit extra mobility, but that's up to you. Alternatively, I didn't do any designs like this, but there is stealth available in this mech. So you can stealth, and you can do stuff with that, which I'm sure some people will meme and do themselves. So I'll leave that to the other people that like to do those things. But the next one is the 6S. So the 6S, the second of the reinforcement pack, it has, interestingly, additional jump jet up to a max of 4, although on a mech like this, a 100-tonner, I don't see much for a reason going beyond 2 or maybe 3 for the jump jets. I'm not sure. I don't think there's enough oomph in the jump jets to get these 100-tonners off the ground, as they are quite heavy. This one, 6 energy, 2 in each arm, 2 in the center torso, and then 1 ballistic in the right torso. So take a look at its designs. It's medium pulse laser, heavy Gauss. It's pretty much the same in terms of total design as this one from the 5A, because this was 6 medium pulse and heavy Gauss, but it is just repositioning those considering we have the center torso. So the center torso does have some benefits and drawbacks. The drawback is that it's harder to track on fast-moving targets because your torso will not move as fast as your arms. But the benefit is that if your arms get shot off, you still have firepower, even down to zombie. Because this is a standard engine, they have to kill your CT or your legs or your head. So if both your side torsos are gone, you still have 2 medium pulse to plink away at whatever opponents are remaining. Other than that, for the 6S, we've got a more brawly type design where 4 medium pulse lasers, 2 large pulse lasers, an AC-20 in the right torso instead, and then a light 350 engine in order to get us pretty quick so that we can kick ass with it. Enough AC-20 ammo to do some stuff, and yeah, this is more of a brawly type design that is for just pushing forward. Well, this is more of like a, this is all kind of brawly, but definitely some good stuff on this mech. But you can do everything that you can do on this mech with the 5A, if you wish. So it's not like this one is so dramatically different. But last but not least, we have the Mad AL. What is the hero's name? I do not know. The Alpha. The Mad Alpha. We have 2 ballistic in each arm, 2 missile in the left torso, and 2 energy in the right torso. I found this one a little interesting to build. The Mad Hero can also do the 2-peep 4AC5 design like the 4L can, but it doesn't have the ECM, so it gets a little bit extra ammo, or targeting computer if you wish. But essentially for this design, I don't think, and specifically for also weapon groupings, I think it would be best to ignore one of the 3 types of weapons. So on this one, I'm ignoring the missile because I'm going ballistic energy. On this other design, I'm ignoring the ballistic because I'm going energy missile. This one is a pair of heavy PPCs and a pair of MRMs totaling up to MRM 60 with a light 350 engine. I really struggled, but this was just me. Maybe somebody else out there has a really good design. I really struggled getting all 3 different types of weapon types in a single build. I mean, yeah, you could take this build and you could put 4 machine guns in the arms, but I don't consider that like relevant. You can do that, sure. That's all 3, but I'm talking like a significant weapon system in each one. I'm not sure how this mech would build, but you've got a mid-range heavy PPC MRM. You can take these down to normal PPCs if you wish and up the arms and put some machine guns there if you want. You've got a mid-range sort of alpha strike DPS kind of thing with the 4 AC5s, the 2 PPCs. Which is an interesting mech. Not exactly sure how to build this hero, but it can do builds that the other mechs can with just slight variations. This one I think is actually, this has to do a light 300, and that's with the ECM, and same thing with this, light 300. Considering how slow this thing is, it'll probably be better with ECM, but it's still functional. You can still do the DPS. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's go take a look at the last of the mech here, just looking at its concept art. Like I said earlier, the right torso weapons are going to be right on top of the mech, so that's going to be great for being able to shoot it. The other side torso stuff should be in line with the torso in this area along the side, which is kind of where the current Marauder and Marauder II have theirs. Then the arms aren't, they're not slinging that low, so it should be okay for peeking over stuff and getting your weapons on target. I've never really felt like whenever I was peeking with my Marauder 3R or something like that, that it was truly, the arms were truly too low, so this should be alright. But yeah, I think this is a decent mech. It's going to be some pretty good firepower. Interesting to see what kind of quirks it has, maybe for adding +1 heat scale limit for the RPVC for that one particular variant. If it has any durability bonuses, because that is very key in the meta as it is now. If your mech is not durable, it is most likely not that good to run. But overall, it's going to be a firepower king at the 100 tons. And now we have 3 variants, like 3 different types of the Marauder chassis in the game. Marauder at 75 tons, the Marauder II at 85, and the Marauder II at 100. But that is going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching, and good hunting.